My name is Clemens and I am a farmer here on Farm Krumuk, where we try to implement organic agriculture and try our best to make that happen here on this piece of land. And I'm part of the managing group and I'm responsible for the cattle herd that is grazing this land. Behind me you can see the cattle herd of Farm Krumuk. That is Nguni cattle grazing the land here. And I just want to say something about the way that we graze this land, because that is for us a very central aspect of organic farming. And that is to keep your soil fertile and to keep your soil covered with grass. As soon as soil is bare and exposed to sun and wind, it will degrade and no plants will easily grow on that piece of land. If we look worldwide, the grazing land is making up to 1/3 of the surface of the world that we have. And so it's really important that we graze in a very conscious way, trying to improve the condition of the soil and really look after the soil and make sure that we have a fertile soil. Because only when there is life in the soil can withstand the risk of erosion, because that is one of the biggest risks that we have facing the soil, and that is erosion, for example, by wind, or erosion also by water. We are losing tons and tons. I think in the literature there's a figure of 24 billion tons of soil that we lose every year to erosion. And I think that is a quite concerning figure. And it is something we really need to look at. And I think in Namibia we have a lot of degrading rangelands. And so also in Namibia it is very important to think about how can we improve the fertility of our soil. And that is not only in grazing land, of course, that's also in crop farming. And I think it is very important that people are aware of the importance that sustainable grazing methods have. And of course in organic agriculture that is a main focus, because the fertility of soil is so important. But I think every farmer must develop a consciousness of what does that do to my soil if I don't do the grazing right. I think every farmer has to find his own way, observing his soil, observing his grass plants, observing his rangeland, to find the right system to really enhance the fertility in the system. Here in Krumuk, that means that we really try to do a high density grazing, because you need to take into consideration what the grass plants have been adapting to in the course of evolution. And what they have been adapting to is being grazed heavily for a short while and then giving a long rest period to recover. And especially in these very arid regions, it is so important that we really give the plants time to recover. Once you have erosion in your soil, it is like the landscape is drained. So the water is flowing into the dongas, it is not available to the grass plants anymore, and your landscape is drained. And in a drained landscape, of course, there's not so much growth of grass. We in Krumuk, we herd our cattle. The cattle are herded by 3 people. They are always with the herd. They bring the herd to the water in the day, and in the night we kraal the cattle in a kraal where they're standing quite close to each other, but that kraal is moved every day. It's an electric fence and it's moved every day. So you have a heavy impact on that piece for one night, and then the herd moves on. And we have had very good results with this method, really enhancing the density of grass plants per square meter, and having really good growth. Of course, it always depends on the rain. But you can say if your soil is healthy and you have a soil with a lot of life and organic matter in it, that soil will be able to cope with very arid conditions, and it will be able to have a high water holding capacity, and even in difficult conditions perform quite well. If we really take into consideration how nature works and try to incorporate our management system into that, then we really have a potential of creating soils that will be fertile for a long time and can lead us into the future, feeding a lot of cattle.